Doublelift recently claimed his return to playing on Team Liquid was sabotaged by Dodo, the team's general manager, and he shared the receipts on stream. Now, this has come at a time when Team Liquid's performance in the LCS has been heavily criticized by their fans, and Dodo has now said he's received death threats. It's not pretty. Here's all the details. It all started last Saturday while Doublelift was co-streaming the Week 6 of the LCS Spring Split alongside fellow former pros Speaker and Revenge. Now, during a discussion about Team Liquid's form, Doublelift's girlfriend, Lena, encouraged him to tell a particular story about the org.
Guys, I'm not telling the TL story.
What is Lena saying in chat?
Lena's just drama baiting, dude. That's all she does.
But after being pressed more by Lena and his viewers, Doublelift agreed to tell the story. It began around the time Doublelift left 100 Thieves in November 2023 and was entertaining team options, including an approach from Steve Aronson, the CEO of Team Liquid.
And he's like asking me like, okay, so if you were to go into the roster building for my team, right? Like who would be who would be like the super team, basically? Who would be like plan A?
Doublelift says that he told Steve and Liquid's general manager Dodo that faced with the prospect of a lower salary and the dwindling LCS viewership, he'd really want a perfect roster if he was to continue playing. And one of his ideal players of choice would be Jojo, the star mid laner who had been tearing it up on Evil Geniuses for the past 2 years at that point. But something seemed to get lost in communication.
I tell Jojo a little bit about it. I get permission, tell him a little bit about it, and I'm like, yeah, you'll probably be talked to eventually. It's like really weird because TL like never talks to him, and I'm like so confused. I'm like, why is TL not going after him? I don't get it.
Now, according to Doublelift, GM Dodo eventually got onto a call with Jojo about signing him. Allegedly, Jojo brought up Doublelift as a potential teammate, but Dodo had other ideas.
He said, if Doublelift joins a team, I'm gonna have to quit my job or they're gonna have to fire me. I'm like, I'm learning about this stuff, right? I'm learning about these private conversations that are happening, and everyone a part of it is so confused. I'm like telling Steve, I'm like, yo, Steve, I think something is wrong. There must be a miscommunication or something.
Now, for Doublelift, Dodo said he'd never be on the same team as Doublelift because he simply didn't like him from the time when the two previously worked together on Team Liquid, a time when Doublelift himself admits he lacked motivation. For Doublelift, he said he's not just being salty about the fact that he didn't get to play another season with Team Liquid, but that the opportunity was sabotaged by Dodo, who he feels was straight up two-faced throughout the whole thing. Doublelift added that Dodo did later apologize to him, saying that his comments to Jojo were in the gist of the moment and that he only acted that way to try to convince him to sign. Now, Doublelift's story quickly made waves around the community, particularly among Team Liquid fans, some of whom were quick to call for Dodo's dismissal from the org. Less than an hour after Doublelift's story, Dodo took to the Team Liquid Discord to make sure, in his words, that wrong information wasn't spreading from Doublelift. He said that he'd had multiple conversations with Jojo since September during the off-season and explored various team compositions, but that Jojo ultimately joined Cloud9 for the chance to play with Berserker. He acknowledged that he spoke to Doublelift, but that the talks simply didn't work out, and that he was disappointed Doublelift had decided to share, quote, wrong information regarding conversations with Steve and him blocking Doublelift's move. Now, Doublelift, who was still streaming at the time, decided to share Dodo's previous apology on stream in order to counter his statement. The alleged message from Dodo apologized to Doublelift for what he'd said to Jojo about him and admitted their conversations were not professional and said he felt bad about talking behind Doublelift's back. We then see the comments that Doublelift had alluded to earlier before a final apology at the end.
Would you say that the only way somebody would be on the team is if they fired me first, if you respected them as a player and a friend? Is that compatible? Or is that just like being two-faced? I think Dodo may have forgotten that he sent me that message. I'm just sharing a story where a GM is being crazy two-faced. That's the end of it, right? Like that's the story. That like those are the kinds of GMs that are in charge of the rosters of LCS.
The following day, Dodo said on X that he had received messages from angry fans to kill himself as well as death threats, leading to calls from Team Liquid fans to seriously simmer down before their criticism just crossed a line. It's unclear whether these abusive messages stem from the drama with Doublelift or from Team Liquid's performance in the LCS. The org finished 4th in the regular spring season recently and go into the playoffs still chasing their first LCS title in over 4 years. In reality, it may simply be a combination of both, and still wholly unacceptable either way. Now, when this story first surfaced back in December, some in the community pointed out that it's somewhat reminiscent of Doublelift's departure from TSM at the end of 2021. Now, according to Doublelift, TSM's new star support at the time, Swordart, had expressed interest in Doublelift being brought back onto the team, but the move was personally blocked by CEO Reggie. Of course, these are different situations, but Doublelift's critics have really honed in on the similarities between them, and the common factor in both being Doublelift. Is that fair? Well, it depends on who you ask. At the end of the day, this is a story about a GM who didn't want a player. It sounds like conversations were conducted where not all parties were aligned. Was it all a simple, if unprofessional, miscommunication, or did the behavior amount to barefaced lying and inexcusable backstabbing?